Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on part 3 of Lance the Vamps. Now Lance the Vamps, if you are not aware of this guys, we are doing a puppet show for Halloween this year, and Lance the Vamps is one of our puppets in the puppet show. Now okay, he's got green eyes, yes, but this is actually part 3. Now part 3 is just the cape, as you see here, a cape or jacket or whatever you want to call their vampire's little coat there. In part 2, we did the eyes and the nose and the chompers, the teeth. And in part 1, you did the base, all right? So if you're after parts 1 and 2, I will leave links to parts 1 and 2 in the description box down below. But for part 3, we are working on the jacket. You will need black and you'll need red. You will need very minimal of the red. Seriously, I didn't use much. I couldn't even tell you 1, 2, 3 grams maybe. You may need a little bit of the black though, because as you can see, his jacket goes all the way around his body. You will need your 4mm hook. That's the hook we use to actually make his body. To make his eyes and his nose, you will need the 3mm in your part 2. You will need your scissors, and you will need 2 stitch markers. And I'm sorry guys, you will definitely need that darning weaving needle. All right, let's talk about him real quickly. If you didn't know this, his colours chosen today, not just his, but also the other 2 puppets chosen this week, were chosen by our subscribers on our live antics Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time. We have a live every Saturday morning. Actually, we have a live on Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. as well, all Melbourne, Australia time. But on Saturday mornings, the 10 a.m. live, we get to choose our next colour combination for our very next project. And I say we because for the puppet show, I'm allowing everyone to be involved with choosing the colours, yeah? But after the puppet show, guys, we'll go back to our normal live antics where I choose one subscriber on our live to choose a colour for our very next project. And that is happening not this Saturday, but next Saturday. This Saturday, we're all getting together and we're choosing some more colours for our other 2 puppets. So don't miss out on that, guys. And we do have a lot of fun on our lives. We relax a little bit and get a little bit silly, but you know, that's just me. I mean, I don't know if it's anybody else, but that's me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I'm just going to let you get started creating the gorgeous cape on Lance the Vamps. Good luck all. Alrighty, guys. This is the head of your puppet. Turn it around. We are working along the top of his head area, all right, for his cape. Now, where I initially did the cape off air a couple hours ago, just for practice, was down here. And I thought because that's okay, it goes around his neck and it's okay. It wasn't. It didn't look good. So I had a bit of a play and found that up here, the start of the cape works better up here, and then I come down here and then we work around that way. But in the meantime, let's just, there's his eyes. Yep, let me get a close-up for you. That's his eyes right there. Now, just with your hook, pop your hook like that. Go down the back of his eye, right there. And that's it. That's all you need to do. In fact, no, we won't. We will go one step further. There. All right, let me try that again. You're here, and you're actually one step further. Not there. You're right there. There's no measurement. There's no right measurement. Okay? It's going to grow a little bit to the sides anyway, so there you go. Okay, pull the loop through. Bring your tail forward. Now, I'm not going to crochet over the tail because it's black, and I know you're going to have trouble seeing it, so chain 1, single crochet. I'm just going to work so it's easy for everyone. So pop your stitch marker in that first single crochet that you did. Get it in. Oh dear. It's awkward now because we're working on the puppet. It's going to be really awkward this row. All right, now what you want to do, we're lucky because we've got posts that we can go around up the top this time. So you're doing a single crochet in the next post, single in your next post, if you can get it through without splitting the stitch. So it's 1, 2, 3, single in your next 4, chain 1, turn your work and work along your stitches that you just made, but along that front loop only of each stitch. So you've got your 2 loops there. We want that, oh, it's hard to see, isn't it? I'm sorry, guys. There it is, front loop only. And do 1 single crochet, pop a stitch marker. Oh, if you can get it in. Just talk amongst yourselves. Here we go. Do a second one in the same loop. And then do 2 single crochets, or 1 in each stitch, I should say, up on the front loop only. Front loop only, 1. And 1 into the next. Front loop only. Very tricky now. And then the front loop only of the stitch marker stitch. You're doing, I'm going to have to take mine out. See if you can try and do a single crochet in that front loop only of that. Oh, that worked. Single crochet stitch, last one. 1, and then a second one in there as well. Chain 1, turn your work in. Now we're working in the normal loops. You are popping a single crochet in your first single crochet. Pop your stitch marker in there. It'll work, trust me. It just looks a little awkward right now. A second single crochet in that single crochet. And then 1 single crochet all the way across until you get to your stitch marker stitch. There's 1 before that. There's 2 here. Can be really tricky, can't it? All right, at the stitch marker stitch, in the whole stitch, you are doing 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. You can take out that stitch marker if you want. All right, so here we are right here, yeah? We're going to chain 1, turn again. And in the same stitch, or the next stitch, I should say, your next single crochet stitch that you want to go into, yeah? You're doing 2 single crochets yet again. Oh, 1 into the first, and then you do a stitch marker thingy here. You do a second single crochet in there, like that. And then you do 1 all the way across. All the way across, all the way. One into the next, right there. You've got your last stitch, and what are you going to do? You're going to put 2 single crochets in there. 1 and 2. Take that stitch marker out. All right. So from here, let's just see how tall do you want your little cape to go up the top there? All right. We are still going to crochet along the side of it. So that's not the end of this, yeah? We're going to be crocheting along the side of it, and that's just to keep it nice and straight up like that. I think that's plenty. So what we're going to do, I know I got you to put a stitch marker there. We're not going to do anything with it anymore. We're going to pull a loop through and give it a cut. Like so. Leaving all the threads, we'll deal with those later. Actually, you can leave that stitch marker there. Well, it doesn't really matter. It's going to have to come out now anyway. And go over to, just pull that little thread at the back there. Go over to here. And now where we are is right here. There's your... Let's get a close up. There's your stitch that you are in. You're in that kind of a side loop. Now we're going to go in this way. Yeah. Pop your hook in there. Grab your new tail. Pull it through. So locking it all into place there. So I can chain 1 and do a single crochet in it. In the same stitch you're in. Yes. You don't need any stitch markers here. You can pop the tail at the back. And you're going to single crochet into where your first stitch was and doing your single crochet right there. Then you're going to single crochet. It's very tricky. Oh, I know you can't see it. I'm sorry, guys. Single crochet along the side of your cape, just along the sides. And again, there is no right or wrong way of doing this. If you accidentally put 2 stitches in or 1, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is when you get to the top of your stitch, you go into the very top stitch. Well, that didn't work because I just split it. Very top stitch, like that. You do a single crochet and a second single crochet into that same stitch. And then turn. And then single crochet into your next stitch and all the way across. Okay, and what you're doing here is you're pulling your cape forward a little bit, the top of your cape. So it comes over his head so it looks like he's got a curved cape up the top, yeah? Now we're going to come to that knot in a minute. And in that knot you've got 1 stitch right there. So in there, you can pop your knot at the back while you're working on this. You do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. And then you single crochet down the sides of your piece. Okay, little tricky again, little tricky. It's really awkward. It's so awkward because you've got the puppet in the way. And maybe we should have done the cape first. When you do that one there, just grab that tail at the back and do the single crochet in it. So you're crocheting over the tail. Then what I want you to do, we want to go into the stitch. We're already in there. So now we want to go into the stitch in front, and that will pull the cape forward a little bit like we did here in the beginning. We pulled it forward that way. Yeah, and now it's pulling forward this way, and then all we want to do, pull up a loop and give it a cut. That's it. That's the front of your cape. Okay, so when you're looking at your vampire and he's got that little cape thing that sticks up at the back there, that's that. You're going to weave in all those ends, so don't worry about it. Then, guess what you're going to do? The actual cape itself now. All right, I would actually start across the top here. And what happens is you're actually going to be increasing as you go along to make your cape longer. But you want to start where it looks like the cape is still attached. All right, so that's a little tricky. So just push it forward like that. Okay, and just start behind his eye here. Yep. Grab your thread. It's a bit awkward. Pull the loop through. Pulling it forward. Chaining 1. Single crochet in the same stitch as you chain 1. I know it's hard to see with the eyes and everything else. And pop your stitch marker in that one. He doesn't want to go in. Pop your stitch marker in there. Okay. Just normally I would crochet over the tail, but I'm not going to now because I want you to see what I'm doing. We are going right into the next post with a single crochet. Pushing the eyes down so you can do this. Right into your next post with a single crochet, and I've pulled the thread of the other one, so we're going to pull that out. Let's try that again. Right into that next post there without pulling the thread. Single crochet. All right. Now, ordinarily I would have jumped into those other loops that we left behind, but I'm not going to worry about that. We're just going to go through every post that we were already in with our stitches. All right, so just go through the same posts that our stitches were already in. which makes it extraordinarily thick. But it doesn't matter. We're going to do that anyway. Whoops, gone back into the same one. We don't want that. I think I've skipped a stitch, have I? Not anymore. Oh no, that's back into the same stitch. Oh well. Here we go, we're in. I think I was in this one before, but it doesn't matter. All right, so now that's super thick there, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to jump right over it and go into a stitch right next to it. Again, I said there's no right or wrong way of doing this part of our work. Now remember how far back we went for the eye? You're going to do the same here. Go right at the back of the eye like that. One more. I can get it. All right, so what you've done is that. Real tricky. We don't want that to flatten out, but we just want to get this first part done. Once you do that part and we turn around and start working on the rest will be easy, yeah? It's just a little awkward right now because the eyes are in the way. Move your eyes out of the way. All right, so now we're going to chain one, turn our work, 2 single crochets in that stitch. One, but first pop a stitch marker in the first one. If I can find it, and a second one in the same stitch. And then all you're doing, get rid of all the ends for a minute, is single crocheting across. In every stitch, whoops, ball of yarn's going everywhere. In every stitch, there we go. Don't worry, we're getting past a difficult part. This is the hardest part of this particular pattern. You thought the eyes were the hardest. No, you thought the teeth were the hardest. No, this was the hardest. But after this, the next row and the row after that starts to get better, yeah? All right, here we go. Nearly there, nearly there. Second last stitch. And I know you can't see the black here, guys, but just when I'm talking, counting yours, that might help. You're in your last stitch. When you get to your last stitch, and even though you can't see mine, when you get to your last stitch, you might need to take the stitch marker out because it's tight. If it's anything like mine, it's tight. All right, so when you get to your last stitch, you are popping a single crochet in that last stitch. Yeah, and in the same stitch, you're popping a second single crochet, like so. Chain one, turn your work. It's going to start getting easier, guys. A single crochet in that last stitch that you made, popping your stitch marker in there. Like that. Single again in the same stitch. Oh, come on. It's splitting the stitches everywhere. Single again in the same stitch. And then single all the way across until you get to your next stitch marker. I swear I need to do this off air because I can't see a thing. I really can't see. You can't see and I can't see. All right, here we go. We're nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. Okay. It's so awkward. Nearly there. All right, we've got one more stitch before the last one, obviously. And then we have 2 single crochets in our very last stitch. So go ahead and pop your 2 single crochets, and that one wasn't so tight. So we're actually getting better. Not you, but me. It's getting better. Oh dear. Chain one, turn your work, and guess what? 2 singles in your first. 1 and a 2. and singles. So awkward. Puppet is in the way. Always in the way. No, I'm going to get you to head off on your own in a minute, guys. I just want to show you this one last row. What? They're saying what? No, seriously, you have to head off on your own. Otherwise, you're going to sit here and laugh at me. Struggling. Oh, don't forget to put a stitch marker in your first stitch. It's not going to affect you because, well, you'll be heading off on your own. And it'll affect me because I didn't put it in there. All right. Nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. All right, here we go. We have 2 more left there. I'm going through the one, and I'm going to go into the other one, the last one I should say, with 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. Take out your stitch marker and get ready for some instructions. All right. Okay, so now what's going to happen here is, the fact that my yarn is getting all tangled is really annoying me. What's going to happen here is your cape is going to start to grow along the sides here. Now at the moment it's kind of sticky outy and pulley and everything. That's normal because we're sitting right there. But as we go, it's going to come along here. So what I want you to do now, guys, is to repeat this row 5 more times. Meet me back here and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty, guys, I've completed my 5 rows. Yep. Now what I want you to do is flip your guy. Right in this piece here, you're going to measure the center of this piece. And I've got 9 centimeters or 3.5 inches. Let's get a close up there. So half of 9 centimeters for me is 4.5 centimeters. I'm going to pop my finger right there and I'm going to pop a stitch marker in that center stitch right there. Now, if you're a tiny little bit off, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really, it doesn't. Right, go back to your little guy with the same hook that you're on. And you got to the end of that row. Keep your stitch marker there, you'll need that later. But for now, we're going to chain 10, come around here and slip stitch into that spot. We might go a bit higher, I'm not sure, but exactly in the middle at least, yeah? So, we chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, then we turn him around, make sure he's straight. Oh, hang on, you didn't even see me do that. That's where our 10 was. Flip him. So you make sure the stitches we just did are nice and straight. And in that stitch right there, might bring it up 1, but the same stitch. Let's get a close up. Same stitch. But we're going to bring him up 1 right there, and we're going to do a single crochet in that stitch. Take out your stitch marker and you're going to chain 10 again and slip stitch him into that stitch marker. You ready? All right, chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bring him over and slip stitch him right into the stitch. Whoops, with the stitch marker in. Oh, that didn't work, it just split the stitch for me. Take out my stitch marker for a minute. It's way too awkward. And you're going to slip stitch into that stitch for now. Chain 1. Turn your work. You're going to work along the chains now. It's a little bit awkward, but you know, that's it. Bad luck. You like that? Bad luck. Yeah. She's so naughty. All right, are you ready? In your very first chain, you can go in any loop you like, 1 loop, 2 loops, whatever. I know it's a bit hard to see, guys, but you're doing a single crochet right in that first stitch There, pop your stitch marker in. So when you come back, you know exactly where you are. All right, and then you're going to single crochet in every chain across until you get to your single crochet, that little single crochet stitch we did. Well, I hope we did a single crochet. We did. I was thinking, did we do a slip stitch? Oh, no. No, we did a single crochet. I'm trying to remember it now. Oh, gosh, it's really awkward, isn't it? You kind of wonder if it's better to make the cape and then just sew it on or just tie it on. But I just like this look. All right, we're nearly there, nearly there. Just going to move this out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm looking down the lens, so not even down the lens. I'm looking behind the lens without glasses on, guys. So I'm actually worse off than you. You can get a nice close-up. If I try looking in the lens, it gets me all confused. I just can't do it. Here we go. We're nearly there. All right, we're there. All right, so we got to the part where there's a single crochet, and you're going to pop a single crochet in that single crochet. Then you're going to single crochet in every stitch across until you get to your single crochets, yeah? And off we go. I'm going to pop this on fast until we get past these chains, and off we go. All right, guys, how'd you go? I'm almost there. We're at the area where the chains are. Not the chains are, that one chain is. Right there, I'm going to pop that there. Yes, all right, so here we are. I know it's so difficult to see, guys, but making sure you're not going across that way to the side. You're actually going in the stitches, all right, across the back of his cape. And off you go doing that, and you're going into the stitches until you get to your stitch marker. All right, we're almost there, guys, almost there. Now, from memory, remember that little chain, that tight chain stitch? We really haven't done a single crochet in that tight chained stitch, so we're going to do one. Then you're going to slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker in it, your tight stitch, yeah? And you're done, all right? That is your first round, but what you're going to do is cast off here, like that. All right, so now what I want to do is rejoin our thread in the front, but I want you to rejoin it in the very main single crochet that we first started with, right center, yeah? So pop your thread in there, pull it through like normal, passing it forward to lock it into place. Chain one, skipping the stitch that we're in, going into the very next stitch and doing a single crochet. Pop your stitch marker in here. All right, and you're single crocheting in all of the stitches across. Now I'm going over my tails, so it's a little difficult to see the black. Again, guys, once again, I'm sorry, but I can't do the cape in any other colour. He is, after all, a vampire. Unless he has like a pink cape, that could be different. All right, so just single crochet all the way across where I want you to stop. Okay, grab your stitch marker. That's the stitch we just did, single crochet we did. That's the stitch we were in. I want you to go into the stitch right before it, okay? Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to single crochet in the round. We're going to come back, single crochet into that last stitch, and we're going to start decreasing down this way. Later we're going to cover it all with red, just the edges. Don't worry about that for now. What I want you to do, and I'm going to pop this on fast, and what I want you to do is single crochet until you get to the knot. Remember the knot we had? Just single crochet across and I will meet you once we get to that little knot. All right, and off we go. Alrighty guys, here we are where the knot is. See where my knot is there, and I've got a couple of stitches to go, or one, I think, one stitch there. Now before I do complete that stitch, I'm going to pass the knot behind me just for a second and complete this stitch. We're going to weave that knot back into underneath when we're ready, but that's just kind of going to lock it into place so you don't end up with a loose thread, yeah? And then you just go into the knotted stitch, which is going to be really tight, and you single crochet past it. Yep, as though there wasn't even a knot there. So keep single crocheting, and we're getting close to that orange stitch marker. Okay, one more. Oh, it's really tight stitching here. Hello. And I'm splitting yarn. Of course I am. Oh dear. And there we go. Nearly there, nearly there. No, we're not. She keeps losing her thread and splitting the yarn and doing all sorts of weird things. And it's not going to work. Let's pull it undone. Now, I don't know if I showed you before. I think I did. Where you get to spin your yarn a little bit to stop it from splitting. Don't do it too much because it can actually thin the yarn out, and you don't want it to be too thin in different places, but just enough so that you're not splitting it like I was. All right, so there's a stitch marker, the orange one. We're going to do, that's split for starters, we're going to do a single crochet in that stitch, in the stitch where the orange stitch marker was. Then we're going to chain one. This is a repeat round now. This is the round I want you to repeat for a little while. So just stay focused on this round. We're going to chain one, turn, skip the first stitch. Usually we put a single crochet in that first stitch. We're going to skip it and jump into the second stitch. All right? And then you're going to do a round of single crochet all the way around. This is the easy part, guys. Home stretch. Well, no, not really. We've got to put a red part on the cape as well. We've got to red cape it. A red cape it, can I use that word? Oh dear. All right, let's pop this on fast and off we go. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. Now we are going to single crochet into our second last stitch, single crochet into the last stitch, stitch marker out. Oops, I forgot to put a stitch marker in that last one. Chain one, turn your work. Skip that stitch, jump into the next with a single crochet, pop your stitch marker in there like so. All right, and that is your repeat row. You're going to repeat that row. Don't forget, put a stitch marker in that other one. I'm going to put a stitch marker in there now. Let's get a close-up of it so you can see it. When we did our single crochet across, we did a chain one and a single crochet. We should have put a stitch marker in that single crochet right there. All right, so there you go. So what I want you to do is to repeat that round. You are doing chain one, skipping the first stitch, single crocheting in the round. Go into the normal stitch as normal. Chain one, skipping that stitch, go in the round back again. And keep doing that over and over and over again for 8 more rows. And I'll meet you back here once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of our 8th round. Whoops. Alright, so where you should have ended up is either on this side or this side. It doesn't matter. Not really. If you wanted to do an extra round or you did one less and I did one more, it doesn't matter, yeah? It's entirely up to you how long you want your cape to be. Now, if you want your cape longer, do a couple of more rounds. Yeah, not too many because we want the point to be in front. Still needs to be in front. If it's at the back, it's not really going to be a proper cape. All right, so that's my last stitch that I did. I'm not going to come all the way up here. I'm just going to chain one or pull up a loop, if you will, and cut this. And what we're going to do is attach the red. Now, the red can be attached from the back. Now, when I say attached from the back, any middle section from the back. It doesn't have to be in the center exactly, just like, 2, 3 fingers and, that sort of thing. All right, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just so that you can slip stitch into it later. All right, so there you go. Better to have it on the back so the seam line is less visible, but it doesn't really matter. We're only doing one row anyway. So there you go. Now, pull a loop through like normal, and up we go. Let's just tuck that under so you can see what I'm doing. You're going to chain one and single crochet in the same stitch. Yeah, just give it a tug. And also pop your stitch marker in there so that you know where to slip into at the end of the round. All right. Now, you're going to single crochet into your very next stitch and you're going to crochet over your tail. Like so. Single in your next. Single in your next. And you guessed it. Once again, in your next and your next. All right, so let's just drop the tail now because I think that's plenty. We're going to weave it in as well, okay? And we're going to crochet over any tails that we come up against, all right? So just single crocheting until you get to the first corner, and I just pulled a little thread out of that black. Oh, don't you love it? Till you get to your first corner, without pulling threads through and doing all sorts of weird things. Now, I hope it's not too noisy here, guys. I actually have the door open, so lots of birds and things are making noises, but I hope it's not too noisy for you. Actually, it's quiet today, considering. All right, and we've got 2 more stitches to go. So this is for the corner, so we'll get a close-up for the corner. There's 1 stitch there. And then you've got your corner stitch, which will have a thread, maybe. Pop your hook in past the thread at the back like so, and do 1 single crochet. And in the same stitch, do a 2nd single crochet. And in the same stitch, do a 3rd single crochet. Yeah? And then you're going to turn your work to the side that you've done along there. You're going to turn it to the side, and you're going to work along this side towards the front. All right? A little tricky this side, but I found it easy when I was practicing it earlier. So there's your first space. Wherever you see a space, you pop a single crochet. All right, and the next little tiny space, a single crochet. Give it a tug. There are spaces that'll be bigger than others. That's the chain. And that little tiny space right there is a single crochet. All right, so it's not completely difficult, yeah? But there you go. All right, so single crochet until you get to the front of your little guy, right where his neck edge is. I should call him Lance, shouldn't I? That's his name. Lance the Vamps. Okay, nearly there. All right, when you get there, you know what you're going to do? Nothing. You're just going to keep going right across with your single crochets. It's no different. There's the birds now. All right, almost there. Went a little quiet there, didn't I, guys? Oh, what? She went quiet? That can't be right. All right, we're nearly there to the next corner. Now, lucky you've already got your stitch marker in. I hope you have. I have. That's the stitch marker from before, where you were turning and going backwards, right? There is a stitch just before that stitch there. There's a tiny little stitch right there. So you get into that one. Then right in the top of that stitch, you do 1 single crochet. I'll take out that stitch marker for starters. 2 single crochets, all in the same stitch. 3 single crochets. And then turning along the side, and you're going to work right up to your stitch marker. And off we go. Just pop this on fast for you and off we go. Alrighty, here we are at the end of the row. I'm just going to, it's actually kind of like a round, isn't it? Do that last stitch and then slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. Remove that stitch marker. Get excited, guys. You've finished the base of your, cape. Give it a cut and pull it through. Make sure you've checked all your stitches are in. That's the base of your cape. Now we're going to do this part here of the cape, which we start right at the back. Turn him around so he's upside down and you're looking at the back of his eyes. Yeah. Bring everything forward. Actually, no, we'll do this part first. Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier to do this part first. So face him to you. Now, remember how we did the stitch in front? It's really dark to see. Right there. Pop your hook in the stitch in front. Right there. All right, there's a stitch right there. Grab your little red thread, attach it, pull the loop through like so. I'm just going to make sure the tail's not too long. I'm just going to pass it forward so we're going to lock it into place. Chain 1 and single crochet on that thread, and then pass the thread in the back because we don't want to crochet over that tail because we are doing the top part of his collar. All right, so what I want you to do, it's hard to see here, but you want to go into every stitch. So that's the second stitch, that's your third, that's your fourth, that's your fifth, and then I think we have a corner stitch which is fairly tight to see, but right there. And in that corner stitch you are doing 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, once again, and 3 single crochets. Now this is going to stiffen up your collar a little bit more, which is good. Then you're going to do your single crochets across, so 1 in every stitch across. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now your count might be different, but keep going. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I think that's the corner. I'll wait until I get the stitch in first. Or is there another one there? It might just be one more there. 11. Yes. And in that 11th stitch, if there's 10, don't worry, pop it in the 10th. Do your 3 single crochets, not your 1. And that's the third one right there. And then you're going to single crochet down again, and we won't crochet over that tail, we'll pop it at the back. So single crochet down again, and you should have the same as the other side. 1, 2, and it doesn't matter if it's crooked, it doesn't matter. 2, 3. It's really tight. That's why I wanted to do this part here first. Oh gosh, really tight. 4, and your 5th one will be that tight stitch there, just going over it like so. and then pull it. Oh no, don't pull up the loop yet. You've got to chain one first. Chain one, pull up a loop, giving it a cut. And we're going to weave in all those ends later, but that's what you should have right now. Okay, there's his top collar at the back. Remember how a vampire has the top bit at the back? And that's this one right here. All right, it's a little bit wonky. That's all right. All right, so now what we're going to do, now this section here will be a one piece as well. And we're going to start from, this is the back of his head. This is the final part of this tutorial, guys. Get excited. So this is where we're going to start, right in here. I know that's very close, but there's only way I can show you guys. Let's just move the tail for a minute. I'm going to work on tails later, so don't stress too much. We want to get our hook as close into the stitch as we can there. Grab your thread. There's our beautiful birds in the background, guys. Can you hear them? So cute. I love it. A big bird lover. Can you hear him? All right. So grab this little red tail here. We're going to crochet over him a little bit. Chaining one. Single crochet in the same stitch. And you don't need to pop a stitch marker in that because we're not slip stitching back into him. Single into your next, crocheting over your tail. Once again, you're doing exactly what you did with the front, but we're doing the top of the cape now. And the top has to match the bottom, so we'll just keep doing that. I'm going to drop that tail now, and we're going to weave 100 tails in later. What? There's a what? No. Yes, we are. All right. So now he's kind of on an angle now. So we have to start turning him to match. Now I know you can't see these stitches really well, and I do apologise, but I can't do much about it when a vampire is black. Hey, you can't have a pink vampire. You probably could, you know. You could have a pink one. Stranger things have happened. All right. So keep going in the round, Alexa. We're nearly done, guys. Get excited. We are nearly done. Get way too excited. If you can get into your tight stitch like I can't, then keep going all the way into the round. Now, it's a little tight here because this is the beginning round at the base of our stitches where we put our single crochet in our chains. So that's what makes it tight. If you can get it through both loops, that would be great. If not, oh, don't worry. It'll still look nice, trust me. All right, so would you buy a used car from this lady? I don't think so. We're nearly there. She's so naughty. How do you put up with me, guys? I don't know how to do this so you can see better. I don't think I can do anything to make you see better. Even I can't see where I'm putting the hook. I may have to redo this after the video. All right. Nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. Here we go. There we go. And what are we doing when we get close to it? Nothing. No, we are doing something different. I do apologise. That's the stitch before that little attachment there. I want you to pop your normal single crochet in your stitch. And then I want you to pop a single crochet around the post of your attachment. Like that. And then a single crochet in the very next stitch, which has split the yarn, but that's because the stitch is split. Don't worry about it. You just keep going, guys. Don't worry about my stitches. All right, so just keep, look at that. How gorgeous is that? Just keep doing your single crochets in the round, and I'll explain why we did that later. But just keep going in the round. Keep going. Get excited, get excited. I know he doesn't look finished with all these threads. We have to weave them all in one by one, but he is sort of finished. You like the word sort of? Sort of finished. And I'll just let you all know while we're doing this, one of our puppets, whether it's this guy or the other two puppets, will have an extra item attached to it that you won't see in these videos. That will happen during the actual puppet show. Now the puppet show, as you know, is happening on Halloween. I've decided to upload it on our Halloween here in Australia, and our Halloween is the 31st. Obviously yours is too, but if you're overseas, your 31st, I think it arrives 12 hours or 14 hours or even almost 24 hours after ours. So our Halloween will be there a lot sooner than yours, which is okay. You get to see it the day early. How about that? Overseas, you get it a day early. We get it on the same day. All right, so we are very close to the end. Well, let's do that for a minute. And again, don't fuss too much. Just go into as close as you can to that last stitch. If you can't do the last stitch, don't even worry about it. Pull a loop through like that. Give your work a cut. Pat yourself on the back, guys. You have completed your piece. Now, if you find that you don't like this particular guy like that, if you don't like that, you can actually use the red thread or even grab some of the grey thread and attach it to the back of his eyes like that, if you want that. But I like that. I like that look. And there you have it, guys. That is Lance the Vamps. He is our first puppet complete for our puppet show that we're going to have. Don't forget to join us for part 4. I say part 4 because that's the second puppet. We'll call it part 2 of that second puppet. To join us for part 2 of your second puppet coming up in a couple of days' time, I think. Yay, get excited. And we will be completing that one as well. Very exciting. And don't forget to join us for our lives, 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time. That's where you, as the subscriber, gets to choose the colour combination of our puppets for the puppet show. Yay, get excited. Thank you very much for joining me. And all I can say right now is, woo, ciao for now.